Hi everybody. In this video, we'll go through the entire process of launching a blog using Bricks Builder. The current version of my website was built with Limey.io, and while I'm the founder of the platform and still intend to use it for many different reasons, I needed an environment for my written tutorials, and WordPress is the perfect solution for that. And instead of just building the blog with bricks, I also wanted to show how to handle everything around WordPress. So we'll launch a cPanel environment, change our DNS records with Cloudflare, and we'll spice things up at the end with custom post types and the native conditional logic Bricks offers. So grab yourself a drink, because this video is about to be packed with information. Okay, so we set start to finish, so the first thing I need to do is pick up a hosting package for WordPress. So I'll use digitalatar.com to do this. It's a platform that we use with our clients, so that way they could submit tickets and do a bunch of things through the platform. And in this screen, what I'm doing is just letting it know that I want to use an existing domain as opposed to purchasing a brand new one. And my existing domain is conveniently with digitalatar, so what it'll do is when I tell it that I want to use an existing domain, is attach it to the hosting package that I'm purchasing now. That way I can later access cPanel through that domain. So now that I have my package, I can go ahead and click on services, and I have one service here, and there it is. So that's my hosting package. And within this hosting package, if I click into it, I'll see now a few shortcuts that lead to cPanel. So you can do a few things outside here like you could with other hosting platforms, but we want to log into cPanel itself and do things within it. So let me hit skip here and just get right into it. And the first thing you're going to notice is that cPanel has a ton of options. It's not just to host WordPress installations, but in our case, let's go ahead and click on WordPress Toolkit, which is a really convenient way to launch WordPress installations, staging environments, you name it, anything related to WordPress. Super easy with a click of a button. You can even change your PHP versions and go up and down with just a few clicks. So I'll fill in some details here, and within a minute or so, we should have our WordPress environment ready to go. Now, because I route my domains through Cloudflare, if you take a look at my site, you'll still see the Limey version. And that's because we need to go to Cloudflare and update my DNS settings and point them to my hosting package with digitalatar. So what I'm going to do is head over to Cloudflare and update these settings. And to know what these settings are, you just need to go to your cPanel environment and look for the shared IP address. So I'll grab that from my end and go back to Cloudflare or wherever you are managing your DNS records and delete the ones related to the root domain when it comes to the CNAME and the A records. So in my case, I'll delete the ones related to Limey that I added before. And now I can just tell Cloudflare that I want to add on the A level a record to my IP address, and we'll go ahead and do that again, but this time we'll select a CNAME record. And in this case, we're not going to type the @ sign essentially pointing to my root domain. In this case, we're going to do the www subdomain. That way Cloudflare knows to route the www to my rootdomain.com. And in this case, I'm also going to make sure that my SSL record is selected as full, just in case. Sometimes it'll say flexible or something else, and you want to make sure to have SSL turned on. Although if you're not using Cloudflare like I am, then cPanel gives you SSL right out the box for free, so you don't even need to do what I just did with Cloudflare. And to do that, all you need to do is either search for SSL or navigate to it towards the bottom. In our case, I'm just going to quickly search for it and choose what we need, SSL status. And once you're there within your cPanel environment, you would probably just want to select everything up at the top. But in my case, since I'm not really using everything from cPanel, I only want to select my domain and the sub prefix, which is the www. And while we click Run Auto SSL, it's going to generate certificates for us automatically. And this process can take a minute or two, sometimes just a tad longer, so bear with it and be patient. In most cases, it'll work just fine. And once it's done, you can go ahead and refresh, or it'll do it automatically for you. And hopefully you'll see these green circles or check marks alluding to the fact that now you have SSL installed on your domain. So now if I go back to my old website, which was the Limey version, version and refresh, I'll be able to hopefully see the WordPress installation that's behind my cPanel environment. Now, we're not going to see too much just yet. We're just seeing here a brand new installation, unless you had something going on before that you uploaded to your environment. But in our case, all we did was just install a brand new installation of WordPress. And if we go to cPanel and take a look to see just how this all looks on the backside with cPanel, you can see here that it's telling us the WordPress version, the plugins, the PHP, the themes, everything that it's able to show us on a bird's eye level. Now, you can run some scans and tighten things up from cPanel side, and you can dive straight into the login and setup environment with WordPress directly from here. Now, at the time of this recording, there is this weird, annoying bug that's going on where if you compress your files, essentially a plugin or a theme, on a Mac computer, then WordPress is not liking it. And until they release an update, then I felt like this would be a great scenario where things are just not really behaving properly, and we need to figure out different ways to work with it. And cPanel is a phenomenal tool that helps you kind of view the back end of WordPress and everything that's going on. That way, in a situation like this one where you upload the theme or the plugin and for some reason it's not working and you need to be able to view the files on the backside, well, cPanel lets you do that. So in my case, I have the zip files that I need, but I can't upload them directly. So we need to do this through a workaround with cPanel's file manager this time. And just like last time, you can either search for it or scroll to it. Last time I searched, so this time I'll scroll. And I'll click on the files, and in here you can see all your cPanel information. So these are all the files and folders, and within the public HTML, we'll find all the WordPress related ones. And within the WordPress-content, you'll find your plugins and themes, and within the themes, we'll be able to upload our Bricks theme. So let's go ahead and click on upload, drop the regular Bricks theme and child theme into this window. And once it finishes uploading, we can go back, reload the page, and we'll see the files that we just uploaded. Now we need to extract both files so that we can actually use these themes with WordPress. And to do that, all we're going to need to do is right-click each zip file and hit extract. And once that process is done, you'll see that the extracted files also include in there a directory called macOSX with an underscore in the beginning of it. This is the file that's actually included in the macOS environment when you zip files, and that's what's causing right now an issue for WordPress. But regardless, we've already avoided this issue by utilizing cPanel's file manager, and now we have the files that we need in here, so we can get rid of both zip files and the macOSX file that's included when you compress files on Apple computers. And while we're at it, we might as well select the free themes that were included in our WordPress installation and delete those as well. And if we did all of this right, we should be able to go back to our cPanel environment and navigate to the WordPress toolkit, log into our WordPress admin environment, and hover over appearance and navigate to the themes. And now we can see the Bricks themes that we just installed, as well as a reference to the old theme since it was activated by default when we launched our WordPress installation. So all we need to do in order to get rid of that is activate our Bricks child theme, and from there the reference to the old theme will just disappear since it doesn't really exist, and WordPress won't try to look for it anymore since the child Bricks theme is the one that will be active. Now that our theme is ready to go, let's follow the same steps for plugins. So I'll go back to cPanel's file manager, and under the plugins directory, get rid of the default plugin that came with our WordPress installation. Similar to the steps before, I'll upload ACSS, which is our utility framework of choice when developing with WordPress. And again, I'll extract the zip file that I upload and clean the unnecessary files that come out of it when I extract it. And after that, I will go ahead and navigate back to my WordPress installation. And all that's left to do now is update everything with our license keys so that we can receive the latest updates from the developers that are behind our tools of choice. And now that we have everything installed and activated, our next task will be to set up Bricks Builder in ACSS. So I'll navigate to Bricks settings and go through the tabs from left to right and tweak things so that they're to my liking. So under the General tab, I'll turn on SVG uploads for administrators. Under the Builder access, I'll turn on the toggle for code execution. And under the Builder tab, I'll modify the toolbar logo so that way every time I click on it, it'll bring me to the WordPress dashboard and not to some other random place. Under the performance, I'll disable Google fonts since we're trying to keep this as lean and mean as possible. And the last thing we'll do here is connect Bricks to our templates library called Light, which as of this recording is already a plugin that can let you do much more than just get a few templates. So to do that, we'll click on the Templates tab, scroll to the Remote Templates section, and provide the details that we received from Light after making the purchase. Next up, we'll head over to Automatic CSS to define a few styling rules over there. So the first thing we like to do with Automatic CSS is toggle on the Pro Mode option. I love Pro Mode because it disables most of the utility classes but leaves just enough from the framework still active for us to streamline our workflow. Essentially, this forces you to develop the right way with Ben and not just to bloat up your project with utility classes. And once that's done, all that's left for us to do with Automatic CSS is to go to the palette and define a few colors we want to work with, maybe disable a few that we don't necessarily need. That way, again, things are a bit leaner and cleaner for us, and from there, we should be good to go with Automatic CSS. Next up, I'll go to All Pages, delete the dummy pages that came with our installation, and create a new page called Coming Soon. Hit Publish, and from there, edit with Bricks. Now that we're finally in the Bricks Builder, we need to define a theme style that'll match our ACSS settings. This will be our final step to make everything work. So I'll create a new theme called Global and scroll to the element container and define the same width that we defined in ACSS, which was 1280 for those who forgot. And before we hit save, I'll just make sure that our condition is set properly to be the entire website. And while we're here, I'll quickly add a section with a heading that says Coming Soon, since this is a real life site that we're working on that does get traffic. And now if I hit save and go to the front side, you'll see that I'm not seeing my Coming Soon page yet. Remember that WordPress by default is a blogging platform. So I'll need to update the settings under the Reading tab and set the home page to static and define the Coming Soon page that I created. And before we check if this is even working yet, let's create another page and this time name it Home. And if we go to the front side again, you'll see that our Coming Soon page is loading properly as the default home page. And if we open a new tab and go to the other home page that we created, you'll notice that it doesn't actually load. And that's because by default, WordPress expects a plain numeric post ID and not the post name, which is what we tried to load. So to update this, all we need to do is go to the permalinks under the main WordPress settings, select post name, and hit Save Changes. And if we did this right, we should be able to reload our second homepage and see that it does indeed load. And now that we've gotten all of our fundamentals out of the way, let's head over to Bricks templates and create two templates. The first one will be our top navigation with a template type of header, and the second template will be our footer with a template type of footer. And since we're already here, let's jump straight into it and edit this template with Bricks. And since we added the light templates earlier, we can adjust the source to light. Search for footer templates and select the one that's closest to what we want. And since we've already defined our color palette with ACSS, all we really need to do is update the content to our liking. So the two things that I want to achieve here is eliminate the generic logo that comes with this template, as well as update the static date in the footer to be more dynamic so that I don't have to remember to come back to this date in a year from now and update it when the year changes. So to do that with Bricks, we'll use the dynamic field current date and hit save. And if we go to the front side to view everything, you'll see that we can't view our footer yet. And that's because we haven't really defined a condition for Bricks to know when to render this particular footer template. So to do that, let's go back to the footer template and add a condition so that Bricks knows exactly when to render this. And in our case, since it's a footer, I'll simply select for it to load on the entire site. Hit save, and we should be able to see our footer now. And now that we can see our footer, you'll notice that the copyright date that we added from the dynamic field is indeed loading, but it's showing the entire date and not just the year. And we can fix this. So let's go back to our dynamic field and simply add a colon with a Y to filter down to just the year from the current date dynamic field from Bricks. And now that the footer is loading properly, we can follow the same steps but for the top navigation template. So let's go back to our templates, and this time we'll edit the top navigation template with Bricks. Let's first set the condition to render on the entire site like we did before. And from here, we can add a new section that'll hold our navigation. And in the container, I'll add a basic text element that'll kind of act as the logo for the site. So I'll just write here EBA, and I'll link to the future homepage of the site. And let's quickly preview just to see that the template is indeed working, and refresh here. So there it is. Now, obviously this doesn't feel yet like a proper navigation, so we'll tackle that next. And before we can do that, it's important that we rename everything so that our classes make sense. And if you're unfamiliar with BEM, I do have a video where I break down why it's important and show a live example of how beneficial it can be to work with BEM. So to keep things simple, I'll just rename the section to TopNav and hit the BEM button to get my classes. And now that we have our classes, let's start with the TopNav class and reduce the padding so that this section feels more like a nav bar. So to do that, we'll select our TopNav class and head into the Layout tab and add a small padding variable. Make sure to toggle all sides length so that the padding is applied from all 4 sides. And we can already see that this is looking much better now. But let's go back and touch up the styling for the basic text as well. So I'll click on the custom class and under the style tab, select the primary text color. And the reason we need to explicitly do it here this time is because we set the EBA text to be a link. And if you recall in the beginning of this video, when we set our color palette, there is an action color for links. So if I go back and refresh on the front side, the text for EBA will be bluish because that's the action color that we set. So I need to explicitly define here the primary text color so that just in this particular situation, the text remains the dark black that I'm looking for. So we'll carry on, and under the font weight, let's go with 700. The next thing I'd like to do is prepare posts we can loop through on the home page. And to do that, I'm going to migrate over some of the posts I published over the years at Medium. For those unfamiliar with Medium, I'll link to a video I made comparing Medium, WordPress, and Ghost. And since this process is lengthy and repetitive, I'll fast forward it so that you don't fall asleep on me while I copy and paste a bunch of text over and over again. Okay, so I prepared 6 posts that we can work with now, and the next step will be to go back to the home page and loop through these posts so that we can finally see our home page coming to life. So to do that, let's hit Edit with Bricks again on the home page, and so that we can continue to focus on logic here, I'll again use our light library to import a template. Now, since this site doesn't have too much going on with it, it's automatically looping through the right post for me, but this is more a coincidence than anything else. And even in a situation like this where everything seems to be working, it's always good to do a review to see that the query loop is doing everything properly. And if we click on the query loop, you can see that we can be a bit more explicit here to avoid issues down the road. So let's select the type to be posts and the post type to be posts. And for posts per page, I'll set it to 6. And since I don't have anything to paginate through, I'm going to delete the pagination that comes with this template. We can always add this again down the road. And I also don't want to show the date, so I'll go into the card footer and delete it. And the last thing to do here is to go to the hero section that comes with this template and just get rid of it. And now we can preview this on the front side, and we should be able to view all of our posts. But if you take a look here, you'll see that I forgot to add a featured image for the Facebook identity posts. So let's fix that quickly. We'll go back into my posts again and choose the Facebook identity one, and I'll just assign here a random picture for now so that we can carry on. Now, if we click on these posts, you'll see that we get a pretty raw and generic design right now, and that's the next thing that we need to improve. So to do that, let's go back to our bricks templates and create a blog post template that'll render for individual blog posts. So we'll call it a blog post so that we can easily distinguish this at a later time if we're coming back to it. And let's set the template type to be single. Publish and hit Edit with Bricks. Now, since this is going to be our last design here, I'm going to build things out manually. That way this time we don't just import a template and work with it. So let's add a section, and in the container of this section, let's add a rich text element. In the rich text element, let's select the lightning bolt so that we can access the dynamic data from bricks. And here we can select the post content. Now, of course, we also need the post title, so let's add that element and throw it above the post content. And similar to how we did this previously, I'll rename the element so that I can click on BEM and have classes that make sense to me. And now that we have classes, let's select the containers class. Set the direction of this container to be column, center everything, and apply some padding so that the title and content elements have some space between them. Now, if we go to the front side, remember that we won't be able to see anything yet. So let's set the condition that'll make this template render for blog posts. Save, and go back to the front side just to make sure this is working. And now we can see that our template is indeed loading. It's not perfect, but it's functioning properly, and now we can style a few more things so that it looks a little better. So let's go into our content element, select the custom class, and we should technically use a variable here, but for now, I'm just gonna set this to 1.25 EM. Let's preview this quickly, and for now, that'll do. And at this point, we can go back to the WordPress settings, and under the reading page, we can set the home page to be home, and finally get rid of our coming soon page. Now, this is starting to come together, but let's take it a step further. For the last item of this tutorial, I want to add social icons to the site, but make things a bit more dynamic and scalable. So to do that, let's navigate to the plugins and search for Pods. Install it and activate it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pods, it's an open source solution for custom post types. So under the Pods admin, we can click on Add New, Create New, and select the Custom Settings page. This is the page that we typically create for every build we work on. It holds all the basic information for a brand so that updating and changing things is super easy and doesn't require users to access the builder itself. So let's call this page Company Info, hit Next Step, and now we can add new fields that are going to be on our Company Info page. So hit Add Field, we'll call this one Facebook, and for field type, select Website and save the new field. Let's do that 2 more times, one for Threads and one for YouTube, and hit Save Pod. And now we can go to our Company Info page and see the 3 website fields that we just created. And to show you the full benefits of working this way, let's pretend that I'm a client, and at the moment, all I have is a YouTube channel for my brand, meaning the other fields are empty and should not be rendered. So let's save the changes and go back to the top navigation template and hit Edit with Bricks. Now, at the moment, all we have here is a container and a basic text element. So let's add 2 more blocks. One is going to be for our logo and the other is going to be for the social media icons. We'll rename these blocks to be wrappers, and let's move the basic text element into the corresponding wrapper. And now that we're done with that, let's add an icon element and duplicate it 2 more times so that we have a total of 3 icons that will match our social media links in the company settings page. And as always, when the renaming and structure is in place, hit BEM so that we can continue with styling in a much more scalable way. Click on the nav container class and make it a row so that it's centered on the cross axis, and then click on the social icon wrapper and also make that a row that's aligned to the end on the main axis. And next we'll give the icon class a large text variable. And of course, we need to change each icon here so that it corresponds with the link that may or may not be in the settings page. So to do that, all we need to do is select the icon element, and in the icon elements options, go with Font Awesome. They have a much larger icon library and will have support for all the social media platforms that we'll use. Now, these icons are too close to one another, so let's give their wrapper a small gap so that the icons spread out evenly. And while we're at it, let's rename the icon elements so that they're easier for us to distinguish. And finally, let's insert the dynamic custom post type field so that each element has its corresponding link from our company settings page. And if we preview this on the front side, you'll see that we have all of our social media icons presented with a nice gap between them. But if you recall, we purposefully only provided a YouTube link on our company info page. But as you can clearly see here, the icons are still loading for all the social media platforms. So let's tackle that next. Back in our bricks builder, make sure to select the first icon element and hit the conditions icon. The conditions panel allows you to define various rules that dictate when or when not to display elements that you're working on. So let's click on the plus sign here and set our condition to be based on a dynamic field. Select the dynamic field to be the corresponding social media link. And as you might already be able to understand here, there are many routes to take for this conditional logic to work. And in our case, we'll just go with the contains logic and have it check for a .com in the link that may or may not be there. In other words, if there's no link, it won't find a .com, and accordingly, it won't display the icon element that's behind the condition. Now, of course, you can go with HTTPS or .net or whatever it is that you're working on. And in our case, we'll do this 2 more times so that we can check each field element that has a .com. Now, I know that Threads is a .net, which you can check for, but in my case, I'm just going to feed it a YouTube link when we do our tests, so we'll stick with the .com example and just continue on from here. And now that our conditional logic is in place, If we save everything and refresh on the front side, we should only see a YouTube icon since that's the only social media channel we provided on the company page when we built it. And there it is. Now let's test this one more time to ensure that everything is working correctly. So we'll go back to our company's page and I'll supply a link for the Facebook icon and I'll leave on purpose the threads one empty. Hit save, and if our logic is working correctly, without modifying anything in the builder, the threads icon should not display, but the Facebook and YouTube icons should. So I'll go back to the front side and refresh, and there it is. The threads icon is not being displayed, but the other two channels are. And that'll do it for this tutorial. I know it was long, but I wanted to show you the process of going from nothing to something with Bricks Builder and working properly with ACSS, Conditional Logic, and so forth. So hopefully you can learn something from everything we covered. If anybody has any questions about what we covered in this video, then feel free to ask in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do so is to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you all for watching and happy building.